Hello, full-time whistles going around the country. Efan, Ekoku and Gavin Peacock with me here to discuss all the day's football news. But let's go straight to Anfield. Lunchtime kick-off for the leaders Chelsea, and they responded with a win. Here's Andrew James.
Well, a penny for the thoughts of Sir Alex Ferguson this evening. It was the Manchester United boss who suggested Chelsea's title challenge could falter in the north. Well, today Sir Alex, indeed the country at large, got the Chelsea response. Liverpool did their best to present a fourth successive Chelsea win and provide a northern test of the Londoners' resolve. The Cop's rendition of You'll Never Walk Alone was followed by a red onslaught that deserved a half-time lead but didn't bring one. The longer it went, the more inevitable became, well, the inevitable. Substitute Joe Cole's shot deflected off Carragher's backside in front of a disbelieving Cop. How will Chelsea cope in the north? Well, now we know.
And how will Arsenal respond as they lead the chase of Chelsea? They're playing at Charlton. Dominic Cotton is watching.
Yes, Mark, Arsenal are in charge here, but they have been made to work hard by a rejuvenated Charlton side. Patrick Vieira and Freddie Ljungberg combined to give the visitors a 35th-minute lead before Talal El Khakouri's 40-yard thunderbolt brought Charlton level on the stroke of half-time. Well, Ljungberg put the champions back in front with the first meaningful move of the second half before Robin van Persie made it 3-1 after stretching the Charlton defence. We've got 8 minutes left to play here, and Arsenal are on course to take the points that'll keep up the pressure on the leaders Chelsea.
Before we go to White Hart Lane, a game in the Championship involving those at the top. Sunderland, who were 3 down at Preston, now 3-2 down. Sean Thornton with 9 minutes to go as Mick McCarthy's team try and earn an unlikely point there. Let's go to the form team in the Premier League. That is Tottenham, and once again, they're doing so well. Rebecca Lowe at White Hart Lane.
Incredible scoreline here, Mark, and as you come to me, Robbie Keane has just, well, no, he's almost got a 6th goal for Spurs, but his lob went just wide. It gets better and better for Martin Jol. This is going to be their 6th win in 7 matches. The first goal coming from young Dean Marnie for his first appearance. He lifted the ball over Richard Wright. Then Reto Ziegler, the young 18-year-old, shooting home from close range. Everton pulled one back to make it 2-1 through Tim Cahill. He converted a Marcus Bent flick. Pedro Mendes, though, made it 3-1. He fired home from the edge of the box 10 minutes into the second half. Robbie Keane then tapped in a close-range one to make it 4-1. And then Dean Marnie again with an absolutely beautiful curling shot from 20 yards. You must watch that on Match of the Day. In fact, you might as well watch all these goals on Match of the Day. But there's no Jermaine Defoe for Spurs. He's injured. But then again, who cares? It's 5-1.
And Tottenham are playing Chelsea and Manchester United in the next few weeks. That should be very interesting. Now, a goal at Bolton. Bolton against West Brom. Gerald Sinstad with the news.
Yes, we had 2 teams here who between them had taken 5 points from a possible 54, and both started with their leading scorer on the bench. It didn't encourage optimism, but before the quarter hour, Sandor Guerra had put West Brom in front, and soon afterwards Jeff Horsfield should have doubled the lead, but missed. Yet Bolton were playing much the more studied football, which should have capitalised on Albion's tendency to mass panic. However, a brilliant save by Russell Holt and a goal line stop by Darren Pearce kept the status quo. Albion have improved marginally in the second half. Bolton, though, have retained the initiative. JJ Okocha hit the bar with a free kick, and a minute or two ago El Hadj Diouf scored the goal that brings the teams level and gives Bolton at least what they deserve.
Well, Everton have pulled a goal back at White Hart Lane. It's not going to make any difference as far as the result's concerned. James McFadden with a consolation 5-2 now to Tottenham. And Sol Campbell, the Arsenal centre-half, he's just limped off with an injury at the Valley. Let's go to Steve Sutton next. He's at St James's Park.
Yes, Mark, Newcastle were cruising in the first half. They led by 2-0, but it's been a different game altogether this second period. They should have been at least 4 up by the interval. Shola Amiobi gave them a 6-minute lead, an easy close-range header from a Craig Bellamy cross, but Amiobi contrived to miss the virtually unmissable on the goal line. Lee Bowyer forced 2 saves off Mike Taylor when he really should have scored, yet on the stroke of half-time, Bowyer did get his reward, Laurent Robert taking advantage of a Melchior slip to fire home. Well, Birmingham did decide to provide some opposition in the second half. Emil Heskey saw a powerful header tipped over by Shay Given before he left the Newcastle keeper with no chance on the edge of the box on 64 minutes. Lee Bowyer has just hit the bar, and Newcastle have just had another shot just wide of the post, but these are anxious moments.
Well, quite a few goals in the Premier League today, but not, I'm afraid, for Ivan Gaskell at Villa Park. Ivan.
I wish, Mark, I wish. Just 4 minutes to go. I don't know if these two sides made a New Year's resolution that included goals. Well, as you come to me, we found a goal at long last. With minutes to go, Villa had been building up some pressure in this game. Noel Solano with a downward header. It went past the goalkeeper Friedel. He couldn't get a hand to it. And they have taken a lead, which their pressure deserves. But it's been a struggle here.
Good timing from Ivan there. Let's go back to another lunchtime kick-off. This was a London derby, Fulham and Crystal Palace, and Mark Bishop.
The return of Lewis Burr-Morty from injury revitalised Fulham today, whose win will take a lot of pressure off Chris Coleman following a run of 3 consecutive defeats. Andy Cole stunned Palace with his close-range effort after latching on to Rosiński's pass inside the box. Saw should have equalised for the visitors when he headed over the bar from 5 yards. And when Andy Johnson then equalised from the penalty spot after being upended by Van der Sar, the biting wind swelling off the Thames felt even colder for the home fans. But Fulham then turned up the heat after half-time. Andy Cole showed great control from 10 yards out to make it 2-1 before Rosiński stabbed home Malbronc's cross, putting the match beyond reach of Palace. And it's given Fulham their first home win since October.
Now, those of you who are very sharp, even on New Year's Day, will have noticed there that the Rangers goalkeeper has equalised at Tannadice. Dundee United 1, Rangers 1. Stefan Klos has equalised. All over at St James's Park. We'll go back there shortly. Newcastle have won it. Terrific goal, though, at Manchester City today. Andy Barwell can tell us all about it.
Yes, it's been one of Manchester City's relatively good days. They lead 2-0 at the moment, but still not totally able to finish off their opponents. The goal's a neat finish from Paul Bosvelt, and then a spectacular 30-yard shot from Sean Wright-Phillips in off the post. What a goal that was. Southampton have been better in this second half, thanks to the introduction of Crouch and Fernandes. Just not their day. Kevin Phillips' effort ruled offside, and David James had to pull off a good save to deny Crouch.
Let's go to Portsmouth. A penalty not taken once, not taken twice. Tony Lockwood with the story.
Yes, Mark, an extraordinary match in the closing minutes and standing at 1-1, and what a way for Damien Francis to see in the new footballing year. Back in the Norwich first team after a lengthy absence, it was his early goal that threatened to lead to their first away league win of the season. It doesn't look as if it's going to happen because of Ekoku. A Norwich performance all the more impressive when you consider they played almost the entire game with just 10 men. Mark Edworthy's early departure didn't unsettle them. Edworthy's shown a straight red for a crude challenge on Diamansi Camara. Portsmouth found their way back into the match. Fleming's handball. Yakubu stepped up and delivered from the spot, only for Phil Dowd to order it to be retaken for encroachment. Yakubu scored at the second time of asking. Mr. Dowd again asked for it to be taken for the same reason. Yakubu maintained his composure, and it should be worth a point. 1-1 closing minutes.
Thank you, Tony. Maybe a lifeline for Southampton in their game at Manchester City. Andy Barwell.
Yes, they've got a goal back here with 30 seconds to go. Peter Crouch went down in the area under a challenge from Sylvain Distant. Minimal contact, it must be said. Crouch went down. Referee Chris Foy pointed to the penalty spot, and Kevin Phillips made no mistake. It's now Manchester City 2, Southampton 1.
So Newcastle have won. Let's get the full story now from Steve Sutton.
Well, managers often say, don't they, that the imminent arrival of new faces concentrates the minds of the players already wearing the shirts. Well, Newcastle, with 2 signatures in the bag and more promised, were positively galvanised in the first 45 minutes. So dominant were they should have been at least 4 to the good. Instead, Shola Amiobi and Lee Bowyer gave them 2, and both players were guilty of missed chances. Birmingham, who came to St James's with 4 wins on the bounce, were a shadow of the team that had put them in that sort of position. In the second half, it was a totally different proposition, though. They came out looking as if they were ready for a fight. Emil Heskey saw a powerful header tipped over by Shay Given before he pulled one back in the 64th. In the end, Newcastle were hanging on, but it was 2-1 to the home side.
Let's go to White Hart Lane then. 2 defeats in a row for Everton, but for Spurs, 6 wins out of 7, and in style today, Rebecca Lowe.
You said it, Mark. No injured Jermaine Defoe for Spurs, but who needs him? Spurs are on a roll. They went 2-0 up inside half an hour, both goals coming from their young wide midfielders. Dean Marney making his first start, gone on the end of Robbie Keane's flick to lift the ball over Richard Wright. Freddie Canute's flick was brought down on his chest by Reto Ziegler, who shot home past right as well. Everton got one back through Tim Cahill. Pedro Mendes then shot home from the edge of the box, and Robbie Keane tapped in from close range to make it 4-1. Marnie then made it 5 with a wonderful curling effort. James McFadden pulled one back for Everton to make it 5-2, just a consolation. Problems for David Moyes, they weren't good enough. 7 unbeaten now for Martin Jol.
Let's have a word with the gents then. I mean, who needs Abramovich's millions, Tottenham? I mean, the story was that he wanted to go there first. What a turnaround for Spurs.
Amazing. It's the turnaround of the season, and Martin Jol, with his character, his charisma and personality, has turned it around. And the side is free-flowing, they're scoring goals, and you don't want to go and play them at the moment. They've got 2 huge games coming up for themselves, but also will have a say on the Championship. They play Manchester United away, and then in a couple of weeks Chelsea at home, and that is a huge game anyway, but with an added importance now.
It's interesting, isn't it, the way they're now playing under to the way they were playing under Santino, when it seemed as if the fullbacks weren't really encouraged to get forward. There's, you know, the way they're playing now and they're attacking now, we can see the dividends.
Yeah, far more positive, obviously, and Spurs, you know, have always had that tradition of trying to play attractive football, and obviously, you know, just by talking to a couple of players and by all the stories sort of coming out of White Hart Lane, is that the players are a lot more confident with a new style. Martin Jol, he obviously wants to be a lot more expressive in the way they play, and you know, Spurs were scoring goals anyway. You know, they're obviously leaking quite a few early on in the season, but if you're going to stick the ball in the back of the net quite often, Keane and Defoe have been playing well, scoring lots of goals. The fans have been entertained, and 6 out of 7, and then you can't really complain, so things are looking good.
UEFA Cup spot in the sights of Tottenham. All over now at Villa Park. We did get a goal late on, Ivan Gaskell.
Yes, we did, thank goodness. Ideal hangover fare, this one. Plenty of resolve, precious little entertainment. At least Villa can content themselves, though, with a scrappy win. The first half can be summed up in just 2 words, but as it's well before the watershed, I can't really say them. I can tell you it was poor. Sure, Villa's lively Noel Solano flashed a fine volley wide, Angel hit a post, and Johansson headed against a Villa upright. But in rain-soaked conditions, it was a struggle. We hoped for better after the break. We didn't get it. Instead, we all got wetter. The game, unbelievably, got worse. What pressure there was exerted by Villa, and eventually it yielded a goal. Noel Solano's industry rewarded with a late headed winner to end a poor run and a forgettable game.
Well, at least it's woken Ivan up. A good win for Wigan, just going through. They're good day for them at the top of the Championship, what with Ipswich stumbling at home. So the gap between Ipswich and Wigan just 2 points now at the top of the Coca-Cola Football League Championship. Let's go to Manchester City. Late goal for Southampton hasn't changed things, though, Andy Barwell.
No, it's a victory for Manchester City. An uncomfortable end to the game for them. A match they dominated. Kevin Keegan's men did it the hard way after Kevin Phillips' last-minute penalty. But it's 3 points to City. It featured another spectacular goal from Sean Wright-Phillips. What a precocious talent. This goal is zipped in off the post from fully 30 yards out. Paul Bosvelt had opened the scoring, finishing off from Richard Dunn's header. Southampton boss Harry Redknapp sitting alongside first chairman Rupert Lowe and then assistant Jim Smith did their impressions of grumpy old men. No James Beattie today. Harry will do well to spend that money wisely.
We'll talk a little bit later about James Beattie and where he might be going. They're still playing at the Valley, 3-1 to Arsenal there, but they're not playing at Fratton Park anymore. Tony Lockwood.
No, Mark, it's finished 1-1, and a few more performances like this on the road for Nigel Worthington's Norwich, and they must just start to begin to believe that they can maintain their Premiership status. The worst possible start. Mark Edworthy sent off after just 5 minutes for a reckless, ruthless challenge on camera. They responded perfectly. Damien Francis found the top corner. What a way to mark his return to the first team after a 5-week absence. Yakubu equalised in the penalty spot. Extraordinary penalty this. 3 times he had to take it, and at the 3rd time of asking, he found the net. Twice he converted it, but referee Phil Dowd wanted it retaken for encroachment. In the latter stages, Robert Green illustrating his England credentials with a string of fine saves. It ended 1-1 at Fratton Park.
Preston have hung on to beat Sunderland by 3-2 at Deepdale. Preston were 3-0 up there. All over at the Valley. Arsenal keeping up the pressure on Chelsea then. Dominic Cotton.
Yes, Mark, Arsenal keep Chelsea in their sights at the top of the table, but didn't have it all their own way here. Charlton deserved to be level at the break, and the strike that made it 1-1 will surely win goal of the month, whatever happens over the next 4 weeks. They went behind after 35 minutes. The persistence of Patrick Vieira and close control of Freddie Ljungberg their undoing. Then came that showstopper, Talal El Kakuri hitting a free kick with deadly precision from fully 40 yards. His effort was rendered meaningless minutes after the restart, however, Lundberg getting his second after neat Arsenal build-up play down the right. The champions soon had a third goal, Robin van Persie stretching the Charlton defence before unleashing a fierce and unstoppable shot. Sol Campbell limped off 5 minutes from time. Even so, Arsenal will be buoyed by a fourth straight win. They will not, it seems, be giving up their title without a fight.
Manchester United, of course, still very much in the Championship title race. They're playing at Middlesbrough, 5:30 kick-off there. Now, what about Bolton? They've had a miserable run of late. Have they at least got something from a home game with West Brom? Gerald Sinstad.
I think they have. From fourth in the table, Bolton had lost 6 games in a row, and for a long time it seemed that Zoltan Guerra's goal for West Brom would mean a 7th successive defeat. But throughout there were signs that Bolton were a capable side whose timing was a little awry, and late on El Hadj Diouf gave them the equaliser all their pressure had merited. Albion, I fear, look a hopeless case, with only 1 Premiership win all season. But, as we were reminded by flags at half-mast and a minute's silence, there are people in this world with much more to concern them than 3 points.
Let's go into the Championship then. A very good day for Wigan. Ipswich lost, Sunderland lost, but Wigan won. David Hurst with the story.
Yes, that's right, Mike. Just the tonic for Wigan after those festive blues. 2-0 the result, but it could have been 4 or 5. The Wigan players responding perfectly after those 3 straight defeats, showing a steely determination from the off. The goals in either half. The first early on, a sumptuous right-footed volley from Lee McCulloch. The second, a header from a corner by Nathan Ellington, his 15th goal of the season. Sheffield United can have no complaints here. Wigan overcame a gusting wind and a finicky referee in Andy Hall, and should have scored a few more goals. Leighton Baines hit the woodwork, and Jason Roberts missed a couple of gilt-edged chances. Wigan deserve winners here.
We'll get more from Efan and from Gavin as we look back at the day's action. But now let's get the classified results with Tim Gudgin.
And we open with the Barclays Premiership. Aston Villa 1, Blackburn Rovers 0. Bolton Wanderers 1, West Bromwich Albion 1. Charlton Athletic 1, Arsenal 3. Fulham 3, Crystal Palace 1. Liverpool 0, Chelsea 1. Manchester City 2, Southampton 1. Middlesbrough and Manchester United kick off at 5:30. Newcastle United 2, Birmingham City 1. Portsmouth 1, Norwich City 1. Tottenham Hotspur 5, Everton 2. The Coca-Cola Football League Championship, Burnley and Leicester City's match was abandoned as 0-0. Derby County 0, Cardiff City 1. Gillingham 0, Reading 0. Ipswich Town 0, West Ham United 2. Leeds United 0, Crewe Alexandra 2. Nottingham Forest 1, Stoke City 0. Preston North End 3, Sunderland 2. Queen's Park Rangers 0, Brighton and Hove Albion 0. Rotherham United 1, Coventry City 2. Sheffield United 0, Wigan Athletic 2. Watford 1, Millwall 0. Wolverhampton Wanderers 1, Plymouth Argyle 1. The Coca-Cola Football League 1, Barnsley 0, Hartlepool United 0. Bournemouth 3, Brentford 2. Bristol City 2, Peterborough United 0. Hull City 2, Huddersfield Town 1. Luton Town 1, Sheffield Wednesday 1. Milton Keynes Dons 1, Chesterfield 1. Oldham Athletic 2, Tranmere Rovers 2. Port Vale 0, Bradford City 1. Swindon Town 0, Colchester United 3. Torquay United 1, Stockport County 2. Walsall 1, Doncaster Rovers 1. Wrexham 1, Blackpool 2. League 2, Cambridge United 0, Boston United 1. Cheltenham Town 0, Notts County 2. Leyton Orient 2, Kidderminster Harriers 1. Lincoln City 1, Bury 0. Macclesfield Town 1, Chester City 2. Northampton Town 2, Mansfield Town 1. Oxford United 2, Wycombe Wanderers 1. Rochdale and Grimsby Town's match was abandoned, score 0-0. Scunthorpe United 0, Darlington 1. Shrewsbury Town 2, Bristol Rovers 0. Southend United 3, Rushton and Diamonds 0. Swansea City 0, Yeovil Town 2. The Nationwide Conference, Canvey Island 4, Dagenham and Redbridge 2. Farnborough Town 0, Woking 0. Forest Green 0, Aldershot Town 0. Gravesend and Northfleet 0, Crawley Town 0. Hereford United 1, Exeter City 2. Northwich Victoria and Lee RMI's match was abandoned, with Lee RMI leading 2-1. Tamworth 0, Burton Albion 2. The Bank of Scotland Premier League, Celtic and Livingston play on Sunday. The Pools panel say home win. Dundee United 1, Rangers 1. Dunfermline Athletic 3, Dundee 1. Inverness Caledonian Thistle and Kilmarnock's match postponed, and the Pools panel say score draw. Motherwell and Aberdeen's match postponed. The panel say home win. Bell Scottish Football League First Division, Clyde 1, Airdrie United 0. Falkirk 2, Wraith Rovers 0. Queen of the South 1, Hamilton Academicals 2. Ross County's match with St Johnstone's postponed. The panel say away win. St Mirren 1, Partick Thistle 1. And the Scottish Second Division, Alloa Athletic and Stirling Albion's match postponed. Arbroath 0, Forfar Athletic 2. Ayr United 0, Stranraer 1. Brechin City 4, Berwick Rangers 1. Morton 3, Dumbarton 0. And Scottish Third Division, Albion Rovers match with Queen's Park postponed. Cowdenbeath 1, East Fife 1. East Stirlingshire and Stenhouse Muir's match postponed. Montrose 2, Gretna 3. The Welsh Premier, Avon Lido 0, Port Talbot Town 1. Bangor City 2, Carmarthen Town 0. Carmarthen Town 4, Haverfordwest 2. Welshpool Town 5, TNS 2.
And the Pools news, if you want to check whether you've started the year as a millionaire, CFAX page 312. Let's have a look at the tables then, the way they start the new year with the Premiership. Chelsea begin their centenary year on course for the second title in their history, exactly 50 years after the first. Arsenal remain 5 points back, but they've won 4 in a row since drawing with Chelsea on December the 12th. Manchester United will look to put daylight between them and Everton when they take on Borough a little later. Everton's White Hart Lane jinx struck again. They suffered back-to-back defeats for the first time this season, and Tottenham are back up to 7th after their 6th win in 7. At the bottom, West Brom could have pulled level with Southampton on points, but for that late equaliser at the Reebok. The Saints, meanwhile, have taken just 1 point from 12 under Harry Redknapp. Palace are back in the bottom 3 as Norwich's point lifts them out of the relegation zone. Blackburn and Fulham switch places. Onto the Championship, leaders Ipswich lost their unbeaten home record, going down 2-0 to 5th-placed West Ham. Wigan are now 2 points behind the Suffolk side after an impressive win at Sheffield United. Sunderland dropped to 3rd after a 3-2 defeat at Preston. Richard Cresswell scored a hat-trick for Preston. Reading stay 4th after a goalless draw at Gillingham. And at the bottom, Rotherham's festive resurgence ended with a 2-1 defeat against Coventry. The division's bottom side are now 11 points adrift of safety. Despite a win for Forest and Gillingham's draw, Cardiff stayed just above the drop zone after a 1-0 victory at Derby. League One at the top, Luton were held at home by Sheffield Wednesday, but they remain top on goal difference. A 7th straight win for Hull has hauled them level on points. Tranmere slipped 2 points further back after drawing at Oldham. Bournemouth and Bradford both climbed 2 places as Hartlepool drop out of the playoff zone. At the bottom, Stockport's first away win in 11 sees them close the gap to Wrexham to 4 points. Wrexham and Peterborough both lost and slip a place as MK Dons picked up a point against Chesterfield. Blackpool ended a 3-match losing run to move 3 points above the relegation zone. Top of 2, 10-man Scunthorpe lost only their 2nd home game of the season, with Alan Armstrong's goal giving Darlington the points. Yeovil are now level on points at the top after beating 3rd place Swansea 2-0. Southend are 4 points off the automatic promotion places after beating Rushden. Northampton leapfrog Macclesfield. At the bottom, Steve Thompson still waiting for his first points as Cambridge manager after League Two's bottom side lost at home to Boston. 2 late goals condemned Kidderminster to defeat at Leyton Orient. Wins for Shrewsbury and Notts County mean Rushden are now just 1 place above the relegation zone. Let's have a look at the conference then. Top two, Barnet and Carlisle, both have home games tomorrow. The Bees are 11 points clear at the top and red-hot favourites for the solitary automatic promotion spot. Hereford missed out on the chance to move level with the Cumbrians as they lost at home to Exeter, who sit 4th. Stevenage complete the playoff zone, but they do play Barnet tomorrow. And Scotland at the top. Rangers reclaim top spot from Celtic thanks to that incredible injury time equaliser from their goalkeeper Stefan Kloss. Dundee United, who began the day at the foot of the table, looks set for a shock win through David McCracken's header. Celtic will lead the table by 3 points if they beat Livingston tomorrow. And at the bottom, Dundee United rise 2 places to 10th after their point today. Dundee replace their City rivals at the bottom. They lost 3-1 at Dunfermline in today's other game. The Pars rise 1 place to 8th. And that's the top of the First Division in Scotland. Falkirk still out in front. As you were at the top then, Chelsea won, Arsenal won. They won 3-1 at the Valley. Here's Arsene Wenger, the Arsenal manager.
Arsene, Happy New Year, well done.
Yes, it was a difficult game against a good team. Charlton is a good side and they're at the moment confident, you know, and they have good players. And we needed really, they just came back to 1-1 just before half-time in a little bit a controversial way, but then we scored straight away the 2-1, and the 3-1 of course gave us a good cushion.
The referee gave a free kick for Patrick Vieira's challenge on Danny Murphy. Did you disagree with that for the equalising goal?
Well, he gave it at the moment where it was surprising, because we had 2 against 2 on the other side of the field, but you know, maybe he thought they would win the ball or not. I don't know, was it a foul or not? I don't know. And then they contested as well the second goal we scored, because we apparently Van Persie came laid back from an offside position. I don't know, but I think overall it was a very good game, and Charlton deserves a lot of credit. They have a good side, and they gave us a hard time, and we needed really an average Arsenal side today would not have won this game.
Well, gents, full credit to Chelsea because they're keeping the pressure on. They tend to be playing before Arsenal, winning, Arsenal responding, but probably Arsenal would have anticipated that Chelsea might have dropped a couple of points today.
Well, it was a massive result for Chelsea. I was watching the game and I was looking at them. I was thinking, now when you look at Chelsea, it's a tight game and you think maybe they're not going to get anything out of this game or just a point. You're always confident they can do something and come up with something, or Mourinho will make a change, and he did today. But full credit to Arsenal as well, because they're playing under the pressure of that result on top of them, and they're coming up. Van Persie scoring today was big for them, because they've not had a player to step up to the mantle of Bergkamp. Reyes is not yet to do it, Van Persie's not yet to do it. If they can get someone to do that, then they'll be a really top side.
We'll hear more from Efan later. You can see all the goals this evening on Match of the Day with Gary Lineker. That's at 11:30. And I'll be here on Tuesday night with another Match of the Day. That's at 10:35. Then we'll have all the goals from Monday and Tuesday's games. The FA Cup third round starts on the BBC on Saturday. We've 3 live games for you over the weekend. A Match of the Day on Saturday night with all the goals and just maybe even a shock or 2. Our coverage of the World Darts Championship begins this evening at 6:30. That's on BBC 2, and you can see every dart interactively from the lakeside during the tournament. And still to come, stay with us on Score Eye as we look ahead to Monday and Tuesday's games. We'll discuss the opening of the transfer window. We'll have reaction from the Premiership games today and predictions from the gents on 2005. Join us for that. Bye-bye.